Hi there. That's better. Hi there. Oh my God, this is take two. First one, I was getting eaten alive over there by the swamp. I'm at the other swamp, the other side. It's a little bit better. Oh man, I just ate a bug. The mosquitoes are out in full force. I am going to make this short because I'm getting eaten alive. But it's so nice and peaceful and cool in the woods. I'm going to try to forget about the bugs. There's some bird up there. Some kind of bird. So, yeah. By the way, Leslie the Little Plazz, Zazoo Plazz, September 12th, 2021. Leslie in the woods here. It's that weekend. We went down Monday to celebrate our oldest son's 21st birthday. We went out, took him out for a drink. He wanted to go to this seafood restaurant, you know, where you sit, they bring out a big bag of clams or, you know, shrimp or whatever you want, and you eat it with your hands, and, you know, you wash it down with a drink. So he got himself some little tropical drink thing. You know, we all had different, you know, drinks. Well, not my youngest son, because he's only 18, but we had a nice time and dropped him back off, and then we dropped the other one back off at his dorm and came home. And, you know, it's been a strange week. It's just you get home and, you know, you walk in the house, you know, and we're busy for a few days. But Saturday, yesterday, we said, oh, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about what we're going to do with the house. But it just didn't, you know, it was, we were watching on TV the 20th anniversary of the, commemorating the September 11th attacks in New York. And took some time to reflect on that, and you know, to pray and on it, and just, you know, give thanks for the heroes that day, the, you know, the firefighters, the rescue, all the people who, you know, in one way or another gave their lives, the heroes on the planes and everything. So you know, it's an annual thing, but this year it was a big anniversary up. So, you know, we were looking at pictures. We had taken the kids in 2016. We had taken them because that was the year that they opened the memorial, the museum, and the pools, and there at the site of the September 11th attacks. And it's a very sacred spot, you know, and it was a good time to take the boys. We're reflecting today. They were teenagers, and my youngest son was not alive. He wasn't born until 2003, but he was so inspired by, you know, seeing the, you know, hearing the stories of the firefighters and seeing the, you know, the fire trucks and the things that they had on display. And he had been since he was a little baby. You know, his godfather is a volunteer firefighter, so it kind of fanned the flames of his interest in becoming a firefighter. So, you know, we reflected on a lot of things, and you know, when you go back and see videos about the rubble that was left, we were saying, geez, looking at our living room after the kids went off to college, we were in a similar situation. We say, you know, they left, you know, the detritus of their lives with us, for us to deal with. And that is, you know, from the ashes, it's like that story of the phoenix, you know, from the ashes rises the future. From this mess that we see before us, in whatever form it takes, we're like, oh yeah, you know, we're starting to get glimpses of where we're going. But first we have to finish getting rid of, you know, where we've been. So we've got all these, you know, I got bed headboards in my kitchen, mattresses up in my bedroom, all the, stuff. And that kind of hinders you, from the vision. But today I was starting to see, today was a 3-day, I was starting to say, oh yeah, we could bring the washer and dryer upstairs where the closet is. We could put the closet where the dresser is. We're starting to get all these ideas. And it's starting to come through now that we have, a moment. And we sat down, we had a cup of coffee, my husband and I, and we started to, envision what we want, what kind of, house we want to entertain. We want to have a creative room, a music room, this and that. It's very exciting because the house is I'm starting to remember before we had kids, You lose that when your kids move out. It's like, what were we doing here? Who are you again? Who are you? I think I've seen you around here, but anyway. So what we have to do, is, I think this time around though, because we've done the family thing, where they're pretty much on their own. But you have to count your blessings, and then you have to realize, gee, we said we've had angels around us all these years. We had, my husband had his youngest uncle pass away recently, and he had no children, so he left a big inheritance, which is now paying for my youngest son's college. Well, the first year anyway. We started thinking, gee, every step of the way, we've had help. And you don't think of that until later. When you go back and you say, I asked God for help, and I got it. I got it every time, So that's why worry is not productive. Complaining is not productive. More productive is to say thank you, because then you get more of the good stuff. Right? Yeah. Yeah. He knows. So, and part of being thankful is, I've been listening to all these stories of people who were spared for one reason or another on 9/11, didn't go into the city, didn't, have that meeting, got sick, stayed home. I found this picture. It's another relative. This is 91 or 2, thereabouts. And there I am, sitting in the back patio of my parents' house. There I am. I had just come back from a bike ride because I was really into road biking then, and I was training. I used to do road races for multiple sclerosis, and I'd collect all this money, and then I'd go out, and in June they had these bike races. You could do 25, 50, or 100 miles, and I did the 100-mile one 3 times. The 50-mile one, I've done all of them. But I was in my bike clothes, sitting there. Look at me with the long hair. And so let's see, who's in the picture? Oops. Let's see. There's my my mom, my dad's brother, and his wife, and Aunt Georgia, and that's my cousin, BZ, Buzzy. And he's a few years older than me. He was born in like the late 50s, I think. He's a baby boomer. But he lives in New York. I think it's Brooklyn, with his wife. And he also has 2 sons, but they're older than mine. And but for years, he's worked as a broker on Wall Street. So that day, 9/11, my thoughts went to him because he worked in one of those buildings. I forget what company he worked for, but one of those brokerage firms, right on Wall Street, right down there. And so that morning, he had a kind of flexible schedule. He said he was running late, and he didn't go in the city. He was going to leave at 10 o'clock. Then he heard on the news. He said, what happened? And he didn't go in that day. So that was a blessing. And I'm sitting there, we're talking about things. I did my undergrad and some graduate work in finance. I have an MBA. So, I don't know whether we were talking about money or we were talking about something more serious, but, he's one of those relatives I don't see very often. We get Christmas cards, but he's a bit older than me. But his wife used to be in high finance. She was like a vice president at one of those banks, Manhattan, down near Wall Street. But now she's in a service type job. Something like, she does like social work or something like that. She was helping people get their kids into college when her kids were going, and then after that, now she helps people. She talks to people and helps them, in various ways. I'm not exactly sure what she does, but I was thankful that day that he, for whatever reason, because he had to, do all these other things, he just lost his mom last year. So, but she was much older than, my dad. She's my dad's sister. She was much older, a bit older, 10 years older. So that was sad, but, you're thankful for those. You hear all those stories, people who were going to be, right there, who for one reason or another did not go to the meeting, couldn't get a cab, couldn't, whatever. By the grace of God, did not, or, were there and got out. I have another cousin who was working nearby, across town, in one of the high rises, and saw the smoke, saw the, commotion, was able to get out, get the first train, back to like Westchester County where he lived. And, he said he was just get out, and he got out. Fortunately, yeah. And his sister, my other cousin, she got married. She was on her honeymoon. She got married like that weekend. She was in Hawaii on her honeymoon when the attacks happened. So they've been married 20 years, and that, everyone's got a story, And these stories are meaningful because they tell us, what, they tell us about our values, they show us our path, they give us an idea of our higher selves, how we survive things, how we move on, how we rise above the things in life. And in fact, it's those challenges, hard to believe, but it's those challenges that fuel the change, that give us purpose, that reveal to us those hidden things that we wouldn't have seen otherwise, And when you're in those situations, and when you ask for help, Source, Spirit, God, you get help. You do. I believe we have angels all around us, helping us. And now more than ever, all you have to do is ask. So, and I was thinking, I could use some creative ideas for my, home renovations. And then, it's usually when I'm in the shower, I'm in near water. oh man, so many ideas. So my husband and I said, we sat down with notepad. We're like, anything, put anything on the table. Throw it out there. Even if it's crazy, you don't think we can do it. You know, it's too expensive, whatever. Psst, throw that out the window. Oh, I want a music room. I want a video recording room so I don't have to stand out here with the mosquitoes at the swamp. Like, it might take 5 years to get there. It might take 1 year to get there. But you don't know. Put it out there. You know? I said, this is where my stories come from. The trials, you know? This is the stuff you look back on and say, wow, we went through that. Can you believe we went through that? And here we are. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, say, the year that I was on that bike tour, I had, what was it? I don't know, I had some kind of cast on my hand or my elbow or arm or something. Riding 100 miles. And I came home and my mom said, you were white as a ghost. She said you were just white. And hot and sweaty, but I did it, you know. I rode the 100 miles, which was, you know, that's what I meant to do because I wanted to raise all that money I had raised. I wanted to go help people. And it wouldn't have helped people if I hadn't had to go through the suffering of the bike race to get there. You had to finish the race. And then is the payoff. I got some power bars, I got free lunch after. It was pretty sweet. But, you know, first you had to, and the ride was kind of nice. You know, I enjoyed the ride, the competition. It's one area that, you know, always gets me going, is athletic competition. It's it's a bug. It's one way that I always, you know, always opens my eyes to how wonderful life is. Speeding down a hill at oodly miles an hour on a bike with the wobbly wheel. The one that my dad said he fixed, but now I'm starting to wonder. Yeah, just before the wheel fell off. Well, I came to a stop. There was a little van following me around, and they said, boy, you were lucky. That wheel was this close to falling off the little, you know, the hooky thing that holds it on. They're like, you were lucky. You didn't land up, you know, face down on the pavement. I'm telling you, I've been saved many times. And that's why I have so many stories and adventures. So, yeah, I heard all these stories about heroes, you know, when the Pentagon, the plane hit the Pentagon, and the woman said she was inside asking God for help getting out, and he was outside asking God's help to get in to rescue the people. See? Those stories are amazing. And both of them were there to talk about it. You know, gave each other a hug at a reunion. It is in suffering that we find our strength and we find our purpose. So I guess standing here in the woods with the mosquitoes is helping me. Hopefully you out there are finding my perspectives, my plight, entertaining, useful, inspiring in some way, and you pass it on and make it all worthwhile. You know, I talked to my dad today, and I was gonna go over, but he says, no, he said, I just whipped up some of Mom's holiday chicken. She loved this recipe. It was like chicken with like Swiss cheese on the top or something. And she always liked to make it for Christmas. But he said, well, I cut the recipe in half and I used chicken tenders and I put that, and it smells so good cooking, and I was gonna, go over with some split pea soup that I made, but I guess I can go another day. And instead of having to go through Mom's clothes again today, he said he made them available to my aunt, my mom's sister, to come, and she really appreciated, him bringing over some clothes that she can wear because they were the same size. And so it's one thing to know it's faith without works, right? One person has faith, another has works. You got to have both. In other words, you have to. My dad said he was, while he was cooking, he was listening to classical music, and it soothed him, so that he keeps his energy up nice and high. I don't advise peeling vegetables, listening to the news. It's not a good thing. See that blister right there? Yeah. No, don't do that. Yeah, it's a good thing to cook when you're cooking, to listen to relaxing music, and sort of aids the creative process and the digestive process. So yeah, he said she's taken some of the clothes, so little by little, but those are works. See, it's one thing to say, gee, stop complaining. Yeah, you don't have anything to wear, whatever. You can help. You look at your problem is someone else's solution. You have too much stuff. Somebody else needs stuff. See how that works? You have food. Somebody else needs food. Problem solved. So you never know. Your story, the one you always tell, can help somebody else. I've been holding on to my stories for a long time, and my photos. It's time to let some of them go. They have wings to fly. So I'm going to go back and get started on my blueprint, my special sparkling golden prints for my future. I want one of those spectacular shoe closets. Half of it I'll put sneakers probably, but I could put an order in. I think my higher self is much better dressed than I am. She should have some sparkly, fun outfits. Apron. Anyway, some cool hats. So, what do you want your future to look like? Now's a good time. Use nature as an inspiration, Can't go wrong. Until next week, I'm going to go get myself a little snack and finish up a few things for the day. But you have a great week. Take care. Shoot for the stars. See you next week.